In the summer of 480 BC, a few thousand Greeks marched to a narrow pass between the mountains and the sea to face the largest army the ancient world had ever seen. Their king told them to eat a hearty breakfast, for that night they would dine in the underworld. This is the story of the 300 Spartans and the last stand at Thermopylae. By 480 BC, the Persian Empire was the greatest power on earth, stretching from India to the shores of the Aegean. Its king, Xerxes, ruled millions. A decade earlier, the Persians had been humiliated at Marathon, and he came to finish what his father had begun. He gathered an army from across his empire, by ancient accounts hundreds of thousands of men, with a vast fleet shadowing the coast. To cross into Europe, Xerxes bridged the sea itself, lashing hundreds of ships together to carry his host across the water. The Greeks were not one nation, but dozens of quarrelsome city-states. Against such a threat, a few chose to stand together. Leadership fell to Sparta, a city that raised its sons to be soldiers from childhood. Its king was Leonidas. A sacred festival forbade Sparta from marching to war. So Leonidas took only his personal guard, 300 hand-picked men, each with a living son. Their plan was to hold the pass at Thermopylae, the hot gates, where the mountains pressed so close to the sea that numbers would count for nothing. Here the coastal road narrowed to a track only a few meters wide. A small force could block an army of millions. When Xerxes' scout returned, he was amazed. The Spartans were calmly exercising and combing their long hair. Xerxes waited 4 days, certain the Greeks would flee. They did not. On the 5th day, he ordered the attack. The first waves of Persian infantry charged into the pass and straight into a wall of bronze and spears. In the narrow ground, the Persians could not bring their numbers to bear, and the armored Greek phalanx cut them down in heaps. Xerxes sent in his finest troops, the immortals. Even they were thrown back with terrible losses. Xerxes, watching from his throne, is said to have leapt to his feet 3 times in fear for his army. Then a local man named Ephialtes came to the Persians, seeking reward. He knew a hidden mountain path that led around the pass. That night the immortals climbed the secret trail, scattered the Greeks guarding it, and descended behind Leonidas. At dawn, the Greeks learned they were surrounded. Leonidas dismissed most of his allies, but the Spartans would not leave. Knowing they would die, the Greeks advanced beyond the wall into the open ground to take as many of the enemy with them as they could. When their spears shattered, they fought with swords. When their swords broke, they fought with hands and teeth. Leonidas fell. Surrounded at last on a small hill, the final defenders were buried beneath a storm of Persian arrows. Thermopylae was a defeat, but the 300 had bought Greece something priceless: time and a legend. Within a year, the Greeks destroyed the Persian fleet at Salamis and the army at Plataea. The invasion was over. On the hill where they fell, the Greeks raised a stone. "Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie." 2,500 years later, the stand at the hot gates remains the very symbol of courage against impossible odds.